So this is going to be my AK47 mod custom build based on a Gen8.5 M4a1. I'm going to go ahead and use the Emerboo version because it's got upgraded motor, it's got metal gears, and of course with that 8.5, that's when you get the semi-automatic built in as well as automatic. So right now this is just used for mock-up, kind of just a dummy receiver that I have on here. That's not the actual one I'll use. But you can see my idea of what I'm going to do here. I found a cool 3D printed part that is basically the handguard receiver mated to a Gen 8, M4a1, and that allowed me to go ahead and print some other pieces that are going to work, and then even incorporate a piece that I had from an old Anstey AK47. So we'll talk a little bit about it. All right. So if we look at it here, I kind of take some pieces apart. You can see this. So this actually is just wedged on there. There we go. Took that off. So here's the actual receiver piece that you can print, and it's made to fit on here. Now it fits really tight, so I actually can't even get it off without using a small pry tool to kind of push it off. So the tolerances are extremely tight on it. And I'm going to need to do a little bit of probably filing and even shaving some of the plastic off the inside of this piece, and maybe even smoothing down the portion that sticks out from the receiver, just so that that can fit on there nicer, because it should just be able to turn and pull. But as you can see, you can turn and you can't really get it off. So what I have to do is take a little tool to pop that off as of right now. Of course, that could easily be adjusted. It was the first time printed, so that kind of stuff happens sometimes. All right, because this is going to end up being a longer front barrel, I'm going to go ahead with the nice long 450 millimeter metal inner barrel from X-Force Tac USA. All right, so that's what we got going here. And then it will actually be slightly longer than this, so I'm either going to cut it or I'll end up putting a threaded tip on here. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and add something. So when you go to a really long barrel like that, that's your option, either cut to fit, or obviously we can add a threaded tip and put some sort of fake suppressor, flash hider, that type of thing on there. Also going to do the spring at the same time. If you want to play it safe, go with an M95 spring, again from X-Force Tac USA. Or if you really want to push it, you go to an M110, but you probably don't want to go much more than that. And this will have metal gears, so I think it'll be okay to go to the M110. Of course, the bigger the springs, that kind of stuff, you are going to wear those gears sooner, and you may just need to replace them sooner too. So this piece obviously just goes on here. I'm not going to push it on all the way right now. Then we got your front piece here. So what I'm going to do then, if I need to for reinforcement, I just printed some plain pieces that would just be glued in between to fill in that area, and maybe do them in a different color. But that way it would just add some stability. I'm not sure I'm going to need to do that, because what I did over here was I printed this piece that can fit on to this top of the barrel, and so when this pushes in, then this actually fits in here nice and tight, and hopefully that's going to add stability. Of course, I'm also going to have an outer barrel here that fits in all the way, and then this is just another version that's going to go in even tighter. I have to do some sanding, and that'll go right to the end of this. So I think that's going to add a lot of stability as well. It's just, again, I made this a super tight tolerance, so this fits on here fine, but to get it to fit inside there, I'll do that. And of course, that's going to add a lot of stability. So by adding these two pieces, I may not need to do any sort of little reinforcement on the inside, but I might end up doing it. We're just going to see what I think I need to do at the end. Other than that, printed this little piece that'll go up here as well. Right, so do need to do some sanding or filing to get that to fit in there perfectly, but it is made for there, and it's just going to be a nice little rail. When it comes to this piece, I'll probably use I know I've got a piece that I've modified that is slightly taller than the standard factory one, so that it'll come up flush to here, and I might just either angle drop it back to here, or depending on how much the difference is, it may not make much of a difference. I might just leave it slightly stepped up in the back. So that's kind of a quick rundown. It really wasn't that quick, but that's a rundown. It's cool that I get to reuse this piece. Unfortunately, I had a bunch of pieces like this, but when I was redoing my garage and cleaning up, you know, I tried to scale down a lot of things that I hadn't used in forever, so I don't have any others. So this will be my one that I use with this. Of course, I could have printed something too, right? I could have printed some sort of shorter piece if I wanted to use the standard barrel length and make it kind of a shorty AK47 style. So maybe I'll do that in the future as I learn a little bit about these parts as well, because like I said, the first time you print it, definitely would want to make this a little bigger so that the tolerance isn't so tight. The other thing I'd probably do if I reprinted is now I can note that like this piece, even when pushed on all the way, hangs down slightly. Now I don't think that necessarily looks bad, but I could have, if I knew before I printed, I could have just flush cut that straight across. You'd still have a little bit of contour up front here, and it would just flush in nicely with that. And you could also then, of course, you know, widen it to exactly perfectly fit this width if you wanted. Now again, I don't think that's critical. It's really cool that someone made that piece and that it's free on Thingiverse. So check back, obviously, as I go through this. I'll do another one once I get everything painted out and kind of put together, and I'll show that to you guys, talk about it. And of course, then we'll go to a demo and we'll see what kind of performance we get with that Emerboo when we upgrade the spring and when we go to a metal outer barrel. And I might even change out the motor on it too, to a different motor that seems to work better with the gear ratio that's in those Emerboos. And of course, Emerboo will have a bunch of new blasters available soon on Amazon, where they've tweaked them all and they should have all the bugs out of them, and they're going to all be Metal Gear with upgraded motors. So check those out. Comments, questions, post them below. Of course, like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, and participate in the monthly giveaways.